Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. Nathan Heaney returned after 2 defeats and won an 8-round decision over Grant Dennis. Grant Dennis, 41 years of age, a journeyman type, but he does have a winning record. He's now got 19 wins with 3 KOs, 14 defeats with 6 stoppages, no draws. And I think as a rust shedder, or maybe a little bit of a confidence builder, this was a good little workout for Heaney. Like I said, it's only an 8-rounder. Heaney's 36 now. He's a very tall, like 6'1", middleweight. And yeah, Dennis is the type of guy who'll get you rounds, get you a few rounds. He does get stopped occasionally, but he's a decent, tough fighter, technically limited, but he'll come forward and he'll try and put it on you. He won't come to roll over. And Heaney controlled him well. And the rounds, with the exception of the last round, were kind of repetitive. Heaney, a very sort of bolt upright, looks very stiff to me, very sort of like a manufactured fighter, places his punches, He always reminds me of, do you remember those Rock'em Sock'em robots you got when you were a kid? Maybe if you're of a certain age, you'll remember them. I think in Britain they call them raving bonkers, whatever. I don't know why. Rock'em Sock'em robot seems like a far more sensible name, but you'd have the 2 robots, and if you gave one of the robots an uppercut, its head would shoot up. Does this make any sense to you? Well, anyway, the point I'm making is that Heaney is kind of like that. He's kind of upright, and the punches are very stiff and very long, very, very straight. He'll fire a hook, but it'll look kind of, there's a stiffness about him that suggests, he started boxing late, learnt via sort of textbook means. And when I think of Nathan Heaney, although I like the guy, he's got the best ring entrance in boxing with Delilah. He's a Stoke lad, so I think that's their football anthem, innit? But when you look at him, you've got to think, this guy's an overachiever. I mean, he beat Denzel Bentley on a majority decision to win the British title, which was kind of amazing when you consider the difference, the gulf in technical class between Denzel Bentley and Nathan Heaney. I know Bentley was having problems outside the ring, quite personal problems, family-related issues. But, fair enough. Heaney beat him. He then defended against Brad Pauls with a split draw. He then lost to Brad Pauls in 12 rounds. He got stopped in the final round. So those two are kind of evenly matched. They'll give you a good fight. And then he came back with supposedly it was against a guy called Sofiane Kati, who had a 17-5 record. He was expected to win that, but in fact he was floored in the 7th and stopped, and he was also cut in that fight. Well, that was, I suppose that was a bad result for him. Two back-to-back stoppage defeats at that age, at 36, is, I mean, Carty is from France, had a decent record, but you would think if Heaney had pretensions of regaining the British title, he would have maybe outpointed him. But Carty came over to Britain and did a number on Heaney. So this was a comeback, and it was a sensible opponent in Grant Dennis. Like I say, a tough guy who moves forward, likes to be aggressive. The problem with Dennis is he wasn't going to win a boxing match with Heaney, because as stiff and robotic as Heaney is, he does everything technically correct, and you need to have at least that same level of skill. And if you've got a bit more imagination, you can find a way through Heaney's defence and chin him, because he is bolt upright. But Dennis, even when he got in close, was kind of falling in, smothering his own work. His footwork wasn't great. It was a boxing match from Heaney. Just, rounds were repetitive. Dennis landed one good, was it a hook in about the 4th round, just as a little warning sign that Heaney needed to mind his P's and Q's. But Heaney, this was at King's Hall in Stoke-on-Trent, so the place was packed, a couple of thousand people there, all cheering on Heaney, and I think maybe that got to him a little bit, because in the 8th and final round he got stuck into Dennis, and they were swapping big punches, and suddenly Heaney was letting all sorts of punches go. He wasn't. Suddenly his mind had shifted from that textbook boxing to, I'm going to have a fight with you. And he did. They did have a fight. It was by far the best round of the fight, the last one. The referee, Christine, gave, I think, Grant Dennis 1 round, which, yeah, it sounds about right. He was competitive in other rounds. He gave Heaney work, made him think, but almost all of the rounds, if not all of them, were won by Nathan Heaney. The question is, where does he go from here? Because he has that big support. He's a massive ticket seller. If I was him, I'd look at maybe the English title, and then use that possibly as a springboard to the British title. At 36, he's as good as he's ever going to be, I'd imagine. But if you match him right, by selling those tickets, I mean, he's got such a big following. You know, they're all singing, he's one of our own. And, you know, he's much loved by the Stoke people. And, yeah, you can get a few more paydays. Mate, has he got another British title in him? I don't know. I don't really think so. I mean, he might do. He had 2 fights with Jack Flatley, which he won. One on a technical decision and one over 10 rounds. And Flatley's not a bad fighter at all. And he's beaten some reasonable imports. There was a guy called Diego Ramirez who gave him work, who he outpointed. If you give him these sort of B-, C+, B- level fighters, he looks okay. He looks okay. But whether he can win a British title, yeah, you never know, do you? Would you have picked him to beat Denzel Bentley? No, I wouldn't have done. But he did it, so it's always possible. And if he wants to carry on, let the man carry on, you know. I think one more defeat and he'll probably throw it in. He'll probably retire. But for the time being, the Nathan Heaney bandwagon rolls on. And Delilah's still going to echo in your ears. Great song, great song. Far better than that Sweet Caroline rubbish. Anyway, tell me what you think. Are you a Nathan Heaney fan? Are you from Stoke? How do you view him? English title next? Maybe even area? You know, start at the bottom, build up, try and build a bit of confidence for another British title shot. You let me know what you think. Comments below. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also hit the like button as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I always appreciate it. Bye for now.